What's going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal SpazPhoenix, the YWC reality check, and it is approximately 11:30 at night. And now that I look into my camera, I'm going to quote one of my favorite comedians of all time, Mr. Russell Brand. And if it wasn't for my charming personality, this hair would just look like mental illness, wouldn't it? Anyways, we're talking about Night of Champions. It was a fun show to watch. I don't know how many times I'm going to watch it over again. Does that make sense? Everything was good. A lot of things progressed the way I wanted them to progress, but I wasn't excited for a lot of it, if that makes any sense at all. If not, hopefully as I go down the card, it will. We started with the pre-show, and the pre-show is pretty damn daft, as my friends across the pond would say, because it's on YouTube and it's part of a pay-per-view, but it's still got more commercials in it than a random episode of Raw. The only match on the card was interrupted by 2 commercials. Now, granted, that was a gauntlet match that involved 10 people. So it's a little more understandable than it usually would be, but it's still damn annoying, especially when you're watching it on fucking YouTube, when we've all, you know, at one point or other, tried to find a way to skip the preemptive ads, etc., etc., etc. But what did we have in the pre-show? We had 3MB versus Tons of Funk versus the Real Americans versus the Usos versus the Primetime Players. Now, we all knew that the 3MB and the Prime... I can speak, I swear. It's that time of night, guys, and I swear to you all I'm drinking is water. We knew that Tons of Funk and 3MB were not going to win, so it made sense for them to come out first. You know, Tons of Funk go over 3MB, whatever. The Real Americans come out, they take out, you know, the lovable, jovial guys, and then the next ones out are the Usos, and the Usos go down because ultimately it's going to be the Primetime Players. Whether I like it or not, whether it's politically correct or not, because of Darren Young, the Primetime Player is getting a push right now, and it is, sorry, what it is. Sorry guys, I got an itchy nose, not doing crack, promise. Not Rob Ford, and that's the only Toronto-based joke you're going to get out of me tonight, I promise. But the Primetime Players win, ultimately. Here's the deal, right? Everybody looked good in this match. Everybody, and it wasn't that long or anything like that. Tons of Funk, who I usually give a lot of flack to, looked decent in this match for what their purpose was. They were there to be lovable, achieve something, and then get destroyed, and they did that quite well. 3MB, individually I like them, so I never have a problem really giving Jinder Mahal, Drew McIntyre, or Heath Slater individual credit. It's just when you have them as a unit, giving 3MB credit kind of sounds funny. The Real Americans, I would have loved to see win this match. The Real Americans versus the Shield is something that has to happen somewhere along the way. I don't care if we have to turn the Shield face to do it. Usos, you got to admit, or you got to really believe that if this had happened a month ago, if this match happened a month ago, the Usos would have won. I mean, it is what it is. You see what happens later on in the night, so ultimately it doesn't really matter, so giving the Usos the win might have been good. But the Primetime Players win, they go in there, they look like $1 million, you know, millions of dollars, they look like $1 million. I gotta give them all the credit in the world. And that was your pre-show. We started off the show with a promo from Triple H, and a lot of people complained about it, you know, here's Triple H, you know, sopping up more, you know, TV time, more pay-per-view time, whatever, but he is doing the overbearing, you know, elbow in everything, nose in everything, bad heel, authoritative guy, so it makes sense that he would show up and piss us off, wouldn't it? Oh yeah. I was kind of saved. I got a phone call during this promo, so I don't know what happened in this promo, so when I looked back up at the screen and I saw Curtis Axel facing off with Kofi Kingston, I was like, oh shit, did CM Punk get injured? Do we have to have a filler match? Whatever. Thankfully, my friends on the Breakers group brought me up to speed relatively quickly, and what had happened was Curtis Axel was trying to get himself and Paul Heyman out of the CM Punk match, I guess. Mentioned that he wasn't defending his title on the Night of Champions, and Triple H was like, here, have an opponent, and here's Kofi Kingston. Got into some debates with Regina, or Nature Girl 30 as she's known on here, who's also in the Breakers group, who I have a lot of respect for and who I love debating things with when I do get the occasion to do so. And she's like, how can you cheer for Axel? How can you cheer for Axel? How can you cheer for... Kofi Kingston is boring as fuck. Kofi Kingston is a mid-card John Cena. He's there to be likable, be fun. He's there to pop the crowd when he comes out. But Kofi Kingston has held how many mid-card titles? And I'm sorry. Sorry, my cup of give a fuck, it is absolutely empty, guys. I promise you. Kofi Kingston, yeah, he's entertaining. He's a likable guy. He does all the high spots. He does all the things that people give me shit about being a Jeff Hardy fan about, but less. So... he's had multiple chances with both of the mid-card titles and as a tag team champion, so I don't really know what throwing the belt on him again would accomplish at the expense of Curtis Axel, who's this new guy that you're trying to push, at the expense of Curtis Axel, who's then supposed to believably go on later on tonight and face CM Punk. Here's a hypothetical for you. If Kofi Kingston, of all people, beats Curtis Axel, and then Curtis Axel, wow, let's not do that again. Curtis Axel goes and beats CM Punk later on the night, hypothetically speaking. Now, he just got beaten by the guy that was beaten by Kofi Kingston. Think about that. I'm not saying that Curtis Axel is a main event guy, but he's in a main event feud at the moment with all the Paul Heyman CM Punk stuff, so he can't be losing to somebody like Kofi Kingston. I'm just saying, you might as well have him lose to R-Truth or Epico or, you know, whatever his, you know, new Matador name is. He might as well have him lose to Zack Ryder and then try to convincingly compete with CM Punk. It's not going to happen, so of course he was going to win this. Of course he was. Like, it just is what it is. I'm sorry, guys. I know there's a lot of people out there that have a fandom hard-on for Kofi Kingston. I don't get it. Just putting it out there. What I do get is my girl AJ Lee defeating Brie Bella, Naomi, and Natalya Neidhart. Now, everybody's going to say, of course, you're the AJ mark, da-da-da-da-da. Here's the thing, guys. AJ Lee is the only relevant diva on the roster. Now, I'm not saying she's not the only talented one on the roster. Natalya Neidhart, I mean, it is what it is. I like Layla in the ring. I like Caitlyn in the ring, for damn sure. Naomi, and she proved it again tonight, is quite good. But the only one that's relevant, the only one that people care about, the only one that people have gotten attached to in any way, shape, or form, whether we've liked her or whether we've hated her, is AJ Lee. She's brought the prestige of being in like 6 or 7 major main event feuds in a row, like being in the middle of those feuds, to the Divas Championships. So I'm sorry, as much as Natalya Neidhart is from the Hart Dungeon, and she's from Canada, my home country, and she's got all the technical whatever, she can do a perfect headlock, etc. It doesn't make sense for her to win the belt. I'm just putting it out there, guys, that's just some cruel honesty. And for the most part, other than nights like tonight where they really showed their grit, sorry, the Funkadactyls and the Bellas are relatively eye candy. I hate to say that, but it's true. I'm waiting for Paige to come up and face AJ so we can have legit versus legit, like the biggest name on NXT versus the biggest Divas name in the WWE. It'll be great. It'll be crazy versus crazy as well, which will be insanely fun. But AJ won this. I will give the credit where it's due. Naomi looked really good in this. She was the most, I might even go as far as to say the most athletic person in this match. Brie Bella, as much as it turns my heart to admit it, did look good in this match. I don't really get what the whole Rainbow Bright outfit was about. I really don't, but whatever. But Natalya got her double sharpshooter spot on Brie and Naomi, which always looks good, if a little bit awkward. And, I mean, if we're pushing AJ as this main, like, face of the Divas division, she got a submission victory clean over, once again, somebody from the Hart family, somebody from the Hart dynasty, from the Dungeon. Clean, she got a submission victory. She wasn't, you know, yes, she was doing a little bit of heel tactic, run around, let other people beat themselves up, and then go and try and sneak in your victory. But that's not cheating, necessarily. That's just being smart. So there's nothing particularly cowardly heelish that she's doing. She thought she was cerebral. She's, you know, she lost her backup before the match with the whole Layla, Oksana, and who, Alicia Fox, telling her she's on her own before the match, and basically went into a match that was 3-on-1, let's be honest, because she attacked the entire cast of Total Divas, with her little pipe bomb promo that she did a couple weeks ago. So even though the Bellas and the Funkadactyls and Natalya don't like each other, they all put their shit aside and they all went after AJ. So in a 3-on-1 situation, she got a submission victory over a submission specialist from the Dungeon. Tell me that AJ's not being built properly. She's not with anybody anymore. She's not mooching notoriety off of Ziggler or Punk or Bryan or Kane or Cena anymore. She's standing on her own, and the entire rest of the Divas division is mooching notoriety off of her now, whether you want to admit it or not. So instead of bashing, instead of bitching, instead of, oh my god, this person can pull off X, Y, and Z technical move perfectly, and they should be the champion, da-da-da, why don't you thank AJ Lee for what she's done for the division? Because if it wasn't for AJ Lee, nobody would give a damn. Oh yes. RVD beat Alberto Del Rio via disqualification, so Alberto Del Rio is still the champion. Alberto Del Rio got desperate. RVD grabbed the ropes when he was in the cross arm breaker, and he didn't break it, and da-da-da-da-da. It is what it is. The predicted Ricardo Rodriguez turn did not happen, which is going to piss off. And this is what I said too. I said this in my predictions video. Go back one video, you'll see exactly where I said it. This rivalry amuses me on the YouTube level. This is the rivalry that pisses everybody off. Why should RVD get a title shot? You know, why should I care about this match? Why is Ricardo with RVD? I don't think that makes sense in my fantasy booker little brain or whatever. But you know what? The thing about it is, the same people that are saying that are the same people that were bitching about Del Rio a month ago, saying, oh man, I'd rather have anybody be champion than Del Rio. Be careful what you wish for. I'm just saying, my entertainment's not coming from this match. My entertainment is coming from all you guys that are putting up your reviews tomorrow. Just putting it out there. And you know what? Because it was a screwy finish, it's going to continue, which is going to make me laugh even more. I'm thinking Survivor Series, a little bit more than a month and a half away, we get Team RVD versus Team ADR. Could happen. Just saying. I hope it does, because I'm going to be there. And yes, I'm going to be one of those guys. I'm going to be a dick. Because I haven't been to a Big Four pay-per-view in forever. I'm going to be one of those guys that says, hey, I'm going to Survivor Series. And not only that, I'm going to point out constantly that I'm going to Cena's hometown. I'm going to sit in Cena's backyard when he's potentially still going to be on the injured list. Oh, yes, we're going to have an event in Boston that could not have John Cena in the main event. Yes, I'm a dick. Just saying. Oh, also, we had an entire pay-per-view with Sheamus, John Cena, and Big Show absent. Anybody feel it? Anybody care? Anybody miss them? No? No? Really? No? Even you in the back? No? No? No, me neither. Alright, let's move on. In another match that I mentioned in my video, I'm like, I'm pretty sure they're going to put this on there. And I'm pretty sure this was Mark Pearson's favorite match of the night, because it was my boy The Miz taking on Fandango and beating him in a match that was ultimately inconsequential but fun nonetheless. And here's the thing. Here's where, you know, people say I'm so biased and whatever. The spot of this match doesn't go to The Miz. I mean, he won with the figure four, I think. See, that's how inconsequential the match was. I don't even remember the finish. All I know is my boy won, and it's all good. The best part of this match was Miz being hung up between, I believe, the second and the third ropes, and Fandango hitting that wicked guillotine leg drop from the top rope that he does. Nice little spot. Fandango looked great in this match. Miz, I will admit, looked a bit slow in this match. But Fandango made another great showing of himself, and I guarantee you, and the rest of the YWC will not admit it. Oh, yes. Paul Heyman. Here's what I will say about this. Paul Heyman defeated CM Punk in a handicap elimination no-holds-barred match when, well, let's just say it, Paul Heyman's guy, Curtis Axel, got the shit kicked out of him by CM Punk, tapped out to the Anaconda Vice with pure fear in his eyes, and then CM Punk proceeded to handcuff and beat the crap out of Paul Heyman. Now, anybody that didn't see the match is going to say, but Spaz, you just said Paul Heyman won. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Speaking of people we don't really care about that might be helped by Paul Heyman, a spear and a slam through a table by Ryback got the win for Paul Heyman here. This is interesting. Ryback is going to be... I have a feeling they're going to drop Curtis Axel, because I think a lot of people think the Curtis Axel experiment has gone by the wayside. A good filler for Brock Lesnar until Brock Lesnar comes back is another big power guy like Ryback. And if you give Ryback somebody like Paul Heyman, who can make him sound smarter, cut a bit of promo for him, give him a little bit more direction, which the fans ultimately love... If this is going to be the new filler going forward until we get Brock Lesnar back, I could see this working quite well. It could be something that they could do with Ryback that isn't him pouring soup on somebody in the back. And that's always good, isn't it? Ambrose. Dean Ambrose, defending the U.S. Championship, defended it successfully against Dolph Ziggler in what I am calling the match of the night. Shoot me if you want. This was great. You got two bumping machines that go out of their way to make their opponents look great, so both of them ended up looking great. The Shield, in general, there's a pattern with the Shield that I like, because the Shield can be called typical cowardly heels at some point, because they all get in there, they all help each other out, they all get each other disqualified, they do the numbers game, etc., etc., etc. But at a pay-per-view, when the titles are on the line, they don't, because Ambrose came down, the other two guys stayed up, and vice versa, when the next match came down, or when the next match was happening, the other two came down and Ambrose disappeared. They will do the numbers game, they will do the intimidation factor, they will do the interference thing, but they don't do it when the belts are on the line, and that helps keep, even though they are slimy heel guys and oh, they're dastardly and why would you do this and why would you do that, it means when they've defended their titles successfully, they've still done something, and I like that about the Shield. Ambrose Ziggler, like I say, match of the night. I'm not even kidding. It was good, like I say, both bumped around like maniacs for each other. The famouser, the top rope X Factor, that wicked face-first DDT / Bulldog thing that Ambrose does. Everything was nice. Ambrose looks like $1 million thanks to Ziggler. Hopefully Ziggler gets over whatever his issues are with the WWE management, with that interview that he did and whatever, and can get back up to a title that he actually deserves, because the US title would not have done him any good anyway. So everybody wins. Dolph Ziggler does not need the US title, it would have brought him down, but he brought Ambrose up by letting Ambrose successfully defend against him. Same thing can be said for a certain degree for the Shield versus the Primetime Players. The Primetime Players went up there looked like $1 million. The way they booked this match, it was always the little guy versus the big guy, or the big guy versus... It was always Rollins versus Titus, or it was always Reigns versus Young. There wasn't a whole lot of the battle of the big guys, the whole Roman Reigns versus Titus O'Neil, which I'm sure as this tag team rivalry goes on, and it will, we will get that spot teased a bunch of times, and then in the big blow-off, we will see the two big bulls go head-to-head. But it was a good enough match. I mean, Darren Young and Seth Rollins being the faster two of the match, they carried the majority of the faster-paced, entertaining portion of the match, and it was really, really good. And you knew going in, and this is why I like the Shield, because you knew going in that the Shield was going to win. But it was still a match done in such a way that the Primetime Players looked like $1 million. And you can't really complain about that. I really do want the Usos to get back in the mix. I really do want the Real Americans to get back in the mix. I hope they don't bring in the Matadors and put them in the title chase right away. Let the Matadors come in. Obviously, they're going to have a match or a feud or a series of matches with the Real Americans, but... let them do that. Let them work their way up. Let them have, fun little gimmicky matches with 3MB and Tons of Funk to get themselves introduced before they just get chucked right into the title picture. That's all I'm asking for. And in a match that I'm really sorry to say, because I know, again, people are going to jump down my throats, I halfway through didn't give a fuck about because it bored the hell out of me. I shouldn't even be able to form this sentence. Daniel Bryan winning the WWE Championship bored the hell out of me. I shouldn't be able to say that. Daniel Bryan was in there. He was great like he always is. Orton was in there. He's great for what I think he's great for. The match was great. There was no interference. It wasn't overbooked. The hero overcame the odds. Da-da-da-da-da. All the right things happened. But guys, this match bored the hell out of me. I don't know what else to tell you. I really don't. This match is secondary to the US title match. And it's supposed to be the biggest title, the most important storyline in the company, and that's bad. It wasn't enough to drag down the show for me, for sure. I had a lot of fun with the show, but the last match bored the hell out of me. It really, really did. The tag team title match was great. The US title match was great. The Punk and Heyman stuff was fantastic. The introduction of Ryback is interesting. Miz versus Fandango was fun for what it was. RVD and ADR... that story's going to go on. I really want to know where... because RVD versus ADR, and again, one of these things that most people in the YWC Elite won't admit to you, RVD and ADR had a good match. Everybody's predicting, the match is going to suck because Rob Van Dam's so slow, yada, 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 Ricardo's an idiot, etc. But the match was good, guys. I mean, when he got fucked over at the end, people were ticked off that he got fucked over at the end. If people are invested, then it was a good match. I hate to tell you. AJ keeps being dominant, being the only relevant member of the Divas division, and she still has the belt. It makes sense. Axel beat Kofi Kingston in another bonus match that was good for what it was, even though I personally don't give a shit about Kofi Kingston. And even the pre-show, if nothing else, highlighted that once again we have a good solid handful of tag teams in the tag team division. Overall, not a bad show. Main event flopped hardcore as far as I'm concerned. Rest of the show was pretty damn good. Anyways, guys, it's about that time. I've been Spaz, your YWC Reality Check. Subscribe down there. Talk down there. Start a conversation. Keep all these conversations going. Tell me what you thought. Make a video response. As Alex would say, do what you do. But yeah, I'm SpazPhoenix and I'm tagging out. Bye.
Like me.